Incredible Thoughts Makes. My name is Stephanie, and today I have a featured finished project video for you. The way I like to do these videos is I like to keep them under 30 minutes. I talk about a specific pattern. I go through the specifications of that pattern, give you the details that are available prior to purchasing the pattern if it is a paid for pattern. And then we go through my process, any modifications I have made, my yarn choice and why, my color choice and why, and then at the end sometimes there's a styling section on how I plan on wearing the item. And I am usually recording the videos shortly after I finish the project, that way I remember all the details, but that also means I likely haven't worn it out anywhere yet. So the outfits that you see are usually things that I'm also seeing for the first time, but maybe I've thought about it in my head already. This time I am featuring an accessory, so I may show you a couple different ways that I plan on wearing it, but we might not go into like full outfit changes or anything. We'll see how I feel by the end of this video. If you are new here, I do include closed captioning for all of my videos. You'll click on that CC button, and if I speak faster or slower than your preferences, YouTube allows you to adjust the speed. I do include links to things that I talk about in the description box below the video, so you'll find designer websites, things like that there. Today we are talking about the Ruffle Edit by Kaci of Young Folk Knits. This pattern was gifted to me by Kaci when she released the pattern, and I'm so excited to finally knit it. Okay, finally is kind of a stretch. It hasn't been released for that long, but I've been thinking about it, and I'm just so glad that it's now off my needles and I can wear it. The Ruffle Edit was released in May of 2026, and it retails for $5 USD. The recommended yarn is Yarn Jam Natural Sport. It's a Shanaco base, and that sport weight yarn gives you a gauge of 21 stitches by 38 rows in 4 inches of the pattern. And the needle size recommended is a US 7 or 4.5 millimeter needle. Of course, use whatever needle size is going to get you gauge. The pattern does come in 2 sizes. You have a bandana size, which is a little bit smaller, and a shawlette size, which is a little bit bigger. Dimensions are given with the recommended yarn or the approximation of yarn for each size, and that is 26-inch wingspan by 11-inch deep for the bandana, and 34-inch wide wingspan by 14 inches deep for the shawlette. Yarn estimated is 312 yards for the shawlette and 200 yards for the bandana. Kaci does showcase both sizes in their pattern photos. This accessory is knit top down. You start with the edging and then you kind of work your way out. And there are also 2 options for the ruffle. For the shawlette, there's a slightly larger ruffle, and for the bandana, there's a slightly smaller or shorter ruffle. I found the pattern really easy to follow. There is a section for abbreviation definitions, special stitch definitions, and then it tells you where to start, how to begin your garter tab, and then the different sections of the accessory. And I found that just an easy way for my brain to process what section I was on and to keep track. For the 4-row repeat, I did put in light bulb stitch markers, I think like every other, so like after every 8 rows, so that I could just keep track. At the end, I did still end up miscounting, and I thought I had more to go, but I had less to go, and that was actually a pretty nice feeling because then I was even closer to finishing than I thought I was. Okay, I think that's everything I have to say about the pattern specifications. I picked the bandana pattern size to follow, knowing that I may end up with a size in between or none of the above. I picked a plant-based yarn. Let me grab it for you real quick. Purl Soho reached out to say that they were launching a new summer or warm weather line of yarn and asked if I would be interested in trying it, and I said yes, and I knew that this would be a perfect pairing. This is called Field Notes. It is 50% hemp and 50% cotton. The hemp was grown in France, the cotton was grown in Italy. It is classified as light worsted DK weight. There are lots of different colors. It comes in a 50-gram donut, 104 yards for 50 grams. This is machine wash and dry, which is excellent for a summer or warm weather yarn. So I swatched here with the heirloom white, and I used a US 5 needle. I forgot to measure my gauge prior to throwing it in the washing machine, and so afterwards, this is what it looks like. It is so soft, and the stitches really don't have much gapiness to them, and it's very drapey. And I believe the last time I measured this, it said it was 18 stitches by 29 rows. This is a flat swatch. And again, I used a US 5 needle for this. So for my bandana, I decided to use a US 5. I am not the best at figuring out my gauge or stitches per inch when I'm counting something that has a patterning to it. So I just didn't worry about it and I just went with it. And this is not washed yet. I just finished it. I love how it looks. I think the texture came out really nice. It is airy and drapey, but it does have a rougher quality to it. You might be able to hear it while I'm touching it. It does feel ropey when you are knitting with it prior to washing. It softens up so much into a cottony, drapey fabric. However, while you're knitting with it, it can feel kind of ropey. I'll try to unravel some so you can see what it looks like. There are little bits that stick out. That might be the hemp. I did not find the yarn splitty, but it doesn't feel super dense either. So I think that contributes to it not being as splitty. I don't remember how many plies there are. I want to say 6. Let's see, 1, maybe more than 6. Not sure if it'll show up or not, but there are a lot of plies in one strand of yarn. I have measured my bandana and this is unwashed. The wingspan is 41 inches, which is longer than what it says for the shawlette. And the depth is 13 inches, which is between the depth of the shawlette and the bandana. Plant yarns are going to behave different than wool yarns, and the sample was knit in a wool yarn. And I wanted to knit mine in this plant yarn because I figured it would be a great summer accessory. I don't tend to like things around my neck in the summer. I like the least bit of things touching me usually when it's hot and humid. But I thought this could be nice for sweat and sunshade. I don't wear wool when it's hot. I know a lot of people say it's regulating for temperature and doesn't stick and is so breathable. I can't do it. It just makes me prickly, and it's okay if it works for you, and it's also okay if it does not work for me. So the garment that I'm wearing right now is a prospect tee knit in plant yarns. I think it's cotton, hemp, and bamboo. This is the Purl Soho Santalina base, and I love this. This is not a color that they sell. It was a sample colorway or discontinued colorway that I purchased a couple of years ago, and I really like it. So this is comfortable for me, also machine washable, and I just like these colors together too. I didn't tell you the color of this yarn. It's called Yellow Zest. It is a cool toned yellow, kind of leaning chartreuse. I really like that color right now. It's a zingy pop of energy color that I really like, and I think it could go with a lot of things. So here I'm wearing it with this orchid pinky purple color. I think it's super fun. I really like how this wears. It is a little rough right now, but I know when I wash and dry it, it's going to soften up a lot. I think I can wear it over my neck if I want some sun cover in the back. Maybe I'm wearing like a tank top or something, but maybe I could even put this in cold water and put it around my neck if I'm working in the garden and it's getting hot. I also had more recently had a haircut. I had 11 inches cut off, and my hair sometimes falls on my face. I can use clips to clip it back, but inevitably it ends up falling down, especially if I'm working over like a garden bed or something. So I'm thinking I could also tie this over my head like a bandana. Let's see. I don't know about doing this on camera, but we'll see if I can get it to work. I think it would hold my hair back nice. Put it in cold water first. That might feel really good on my head for like evaporative cooling. Yeah, I think this could work, right? What do you think, Kaci? Does it work? All right, I just checked the time and I am running out of it. So I just threw on this jean jacket to see how it would look all together, and I really like this too. I think this is perfect for transitional weather, for going into air-conditioned spaces. It adds a little pop of color. I am curious to see how this will do once it is washed and dried. Maybe if this video doesn't go up before I do the first wash and dry. I'll insert another clip here at the end so you can hopefully see the transformation of what it looks like before and after washing. Hello, it's me again. My Ruffle edit has now been washed and dried. As you will have seen in the footage, I did not throw it in the washing machine because with the first wash, I just wanted to make sure that if there was any color bleeding that we didn't have any dye transfer on the rest of our family's clothes. My swatch was done on the natural base, the heirloom white colorway. I don't know if there's actually any dye on it, but that didn't have any color bleeding in the water because, well, there was no dye that I could see anyway. And so with the yellow zest, I knew that there was the potential chance of there being dye in the water. Now with the bath, I did lukewarm water and just regular laundry detergent. And after about 30 minutes or so, squishing it around, there was definitely dye in the water. So just something to note. And I did rinse it a couple of times. And then I threw it in the dryer with dryer balls and a towel to have it dry on, I think it was low heat. And it came out so lovely. The stitches definitely tightened up a little and fluffed. The texture is still very apparent. However, the stitches are less gapy. Maybe I'll put up a cutout, I don't know what you call it, a clip of a video prior to it being washed so that maybe you can see them side by side a little bit better. Let's see. Hopefully I'm not being a pain for future editing Stephanie here, but you'll be able to see a little bit of a difference between how the fabric looks. This one is definitely more filled in, still very drapey, still a little bit see-through, but definitely not as see-through as before. And the ruffle part is so much more ruffly, and I think it's so cute. I did measure it again, and the size is different. So prior to me washing it, the wingspan was 41 inches, and after washing it, the wingspan is 38 inches. So it shrunk about 3 inches. And then as far as the depth of it goes in the center, prior to washing it, it was 13 inches, and after wash and dry, it's 11 inches. Just to give you a reference point, in the pattern, the shawlette size is 34-inch wingspan by 14-inch depth, and mine is still bigger than that on the wingspan. However, the depth of it is the same as the bandana. So just something to note. Everybody's gauge is going to vary, your tension will vary, the needles you choose can affect it, the yarn you choose can affect it. I'm very pleased with how this turned out. The size is perfect. I can loop it around my neck, I can tie it in the back if I want to, or I can cross it in the back and then tuck it underneath in the front. I think now it's a little small for me to knot it in the front. I think I could probably stretch it out if I really wanted to, but just with the fewer inches in the wingspan, I can't knot it in the front as easily as I did before. I do like the shallow depth of it. I think that worked out well, even if it shrunk 2 inches in that depth part. I think it still fits great. I really enjoyed working with this yarn in this pattern with this color. I think it was a great trifecta. I don't know how this yarn would behave in a garment. I feel like it could be really nice. I don't really know because I didn't do it. But if you try it, I would love to hear your experience with the Field Notes yarn in a garment. Because it is machine washable, I just think that makes it so sweat friendly to be able to chuck it in the washing machine and either lay it flat to dry or put it in the dryer. And it just comes out to be a really nice fabric. It feels cool on the skin. It is not as rough as it was prior to washing it. It's very drapey. It, I think, will be pretty cooling. But again, I have just finished this, so I can't really tell you how it wears over time. Can't tell you how it wears out in the wild. But I do look forward to getting lots of wear out of this lovely ruffle edit by Kaci of Young Folk Knits. That is everything I have for you today on this pattern. I hope you gained a little bit of insight on how this ruffle edit is knit up. I hope you gained some inspiration on pairing yarn, pattern, and color. If you have any questions about the pattern, I definitely recommend you contact the designer for pattern support. And with that, cheers to being creative, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.